Hey, Legends, Dave here with the Fifth Ingredient. Super excited to talk to you today about demand planning as part of our new V10 rollout. So let's hop right into it. So demand planning. This module is all about helping your sales team and your production team align on producing the perfect amount of beer to not be overstocked or understocked, both of which can have negative financial impacts on the brewery. It's such a challenge dealing with all your different brands, all the different raw material and packaging needs that you have. You're understocked, you're losing tap handles and placements, losing trust with customers. Overstocked can be just as bad of an issue, right? You got beer going stale, taking up real estate where higher velocity items could move through. Worst case scenario, full loss as you dump beer to the drain. So we know you're up against fermentation lead times. We know you're up against ordering lead times, and it's just a constant battle, right? So we need a tool to help us build out the perfect amount of beer to brew based on good forecasting numbers. Okay, so let's hop right into it. Demand planning here. We're in one of the sandboxes right now that's never been set up for the module. So when you first log into demand planning, you're just going to have a settings page to set your basics, right? So always know, get a knowledge base link here to link out to an article that we've written explaining the module further. So some things you want to set up, right? You want to set a case equivalent, right? So you're setting a case equivalent for your sales team based on what package size you want to see for your case equivalents. Brew to BBT ratio, right? So this is your efficiency to the bright tank, right? So you're not going to get 100% of that beer that you start with in the recipe all the way to the bright. You're going to have losses along the way. So set that ratio. Coming soon, we're going to have different packaging line efficiencies as well. So stay tuned for that. Add to demand planning. We're really looking for like our core brands to add and plan to. I can see an argument the way I used to plan when I was a production manager was I had to have my core brands, I had to have my seasonal brands, right? And then whatever space or capacity there was afterwards, that's where I could fit in one-offs and experimental R&D beers. But really looking for core brands, maybe out to seasonal brands here. So you're going to select your brand from your recipes, select the packaging recipe, and then velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is just rate of sale, right? So rate of sale on that product to start, which is going to be adjustable later in the forecast. So add those up. Make sure you're starting the velocity units are in something that you want to see, like barrels here, gallons, whatever your overall brewery unit is, or in that saleable units, like the case equivalent unit. So, okay, let's hop over to a brewery that's already set up, right? So the brewery that's already set up, got my CEs, my case equivalents, got my brew to BBT ratio, and I've got my brand set up, right? Core brand, and I've got them active in the forecast. If you did have a seasonal that you threw in, like spring, summer, fall, and it's not that season, just click off the active in the forecast and to pull it out of the forecast. Okay. All right. Let's hop into sales forecast where everything starts. We're in our sales forecast calculator. So, hey, sales forecast calculator, I'm just going to collapse it to start it all collapsed here, right? So we can bounce back and forth to look at things in barrels, which is more brewer speak, or case equivalents, which is more sales speak, right? And then let's expand on our America's Finest lager brand here. So you can see our total forecasted number for case equivalents for all across all months. If I wanted to look in a little bit deeper into my 12-ounce 6x4, right? So this is my projected sales for this package recipe with a starting velocity of 200 cases a month, right? And you can see we can adjust that month on month. So what it looks like it's going to happen, America's Finest Lager heading into summer, we're going to see a little case bump on that as we head into summer. So that's going to bring up that velocity. Let's just say maybe heading into, July 4th, Independence Day in the States, we're going to get a big, case drop at a couple of the liquor store chains, right? So I might manually adjust up just for that month, right? So it shows just that month it bumps up, and then it goes back down to what my velocity was the following month, right? Cool. So how does that affect the demand report? Let's hop into the demand report. Cool. So here we are in demand report. Let's expand out America's Finest Lager. This top line number is what we call our monthly demand number. This is the one we really want to pay attention to, is this monthly demand number here, right? So monthly demand, this is our end of month where we are sitting, right? We definitely don't want to be negative. We don't want to be in the red. That means we're understocked on beer. We're going to be outing stores on sales. We're not going to have beer on tap, right? We also don't want to be too high, like you see Cambodian snake venom, this really high number. This means you got a ton of extra beer on hand and you don't have projected sales to match that, right? So you're looking for that happy medium, that lowish kind of stock number, right? So let's talk about these lines here. So monthly demand, that's your end of month, where you're sitting. Starting inventory, yeah, that's where you're starting out for the month. So that's always going to be from, last month's monthly demand number. End of month is going to be your starting. Production forecast, we're going to talk about that next. You're going to be building out subsets or turns to build that production forecast. Scheduled packaging, it's going to come from the schedule module if you're using that scheduled packaging out. Sales forecast coming from here in the sales forecast that we just talked about. Published orders, draft orders, yeah, those are real published, real draft order numbers coming from the distro module. How's this calculation work? This monthly demand calculation. So it's highlighted here for you. So monthly demand is going to be your starting inventory plus your production forecast minus your sales forecast, right? Again, starting inventory plus production forecast minus sales forecast. A couple caveats to that. If the scheduled packaging outcompetes that production forecast, right? If in the schedule module, you actually have more beer scheduled to be packaged out than what you put in the production forecast, that number will take over on that positive side, right? So some people are going to want to work out of the schedule module to schedule out packaging. One thing we wanted to be mindful of though, right? If you're looking to schedule, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months out in advance, the schedule module requires that you choose tanks, right? So that can be a bit of a matrix or a Rubik's cube to try to unravel as you're looking to schedule out. So you might not always know what tanks you're going to be packaging out of 1, 2, 3 months out in advance. So we wanted to give you the ability to just build out turns, knowing your capacity in the production forecast on that positive side, right? So that's your positive side, starting inventory plus production forecast or scheduled packaging, whichever number is greater. On the subtraction side, you've got your sales forecast that you built out here, right? Unless published orders and draft orders, the real deal, what you've actually published and what you've got drafted, if those two numbers outcompete the sales forecast, then that'll take over on the subtraction side. Okay. In the knowledge base, we've got the full formula there. So you can look at it again. Let's talk about how this plays into production forecast. So look at this number. We are negative here, right? We're in the negative here. So we look like we want to probably build out a little bit of our production, right? So again, monthly demand shows us in the negative. So we might want to add another brew to build off of that. Okay, so we go to our production forecast here. Looking at our production forecast up top, we've got our brands that we have planned here. You can see our week by week production in the brew house. So brew date, you can see, how many total turns you have planned out for that week and how many total barrels you've got scheduled to produce. So if we say, hey, we need to really build this out and start brewing a little more America's Finest Lager, very easy. Just click into this field here, add another subset, right? So that increased based on my batch size from 40 barrels to 80 barrels. There, we can see our efficiency popping in there. When is that beer going to be ready? Week 24. June 12th, right? So popping back over to our demand report, you can see that now in June, we're much higher positive, right? So now we need more sales. Okay, so that's kind of the high level view of the demand planning module. I hope you're as excited as we are. I was a production manager at a brewery for quite a while. This tool would have been super useful for me to not be in 8 places at once and dealing with spreadsheets and chicken scratch on paper. So please feel free to reach out to us via WhatsApp to schedule a live demo or sign up. We can get it turned on for you like that. All right, thanks.